Hello and welcome to the first group commentary of the Augurist War II thread. With me are...
Anoia.
And Rightseno.
This scene is a bit out of context since there's a couple scenes before it that I haven't gotten to from the next update, but basically all you need to know is some cat lady named Feline has joined us, and we're still hunting demons.
Okay, good. I thought I'd missed something.
Me too.
Yeah, don't worry. This is from like 30 minutes when I started recording from the last update.
So I have no idea what that flashback was.
Yeah, this game will play several versions of that flashback that get longer and longer, and it'll make sense about 80% of the way through the game or so.
Oh, lovely.
You'll have the full context for it.
That figures. I gotta say, given what I know about the series, I'm quite surprised the first person to go down on their knees was Vice.
The only voice actor I'm familiar with from this game is Eva's voice actor, who is Marina Inoue, and she was the Japanese voice for Aisha from my last thread.
Huh.
Ah.
That's the only voice actress I recognize from this game.
Yeah, I was listening to the voices during the battles. I was pleasantly surprised that Janus is just as much of an arrogant asshole in combat as he is in scenes.
He's a good guy.
He's hilarious.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Feline. We'll learn pretty shortly why everyone seemed so worried about that sword.
Aside from that, we already know that it was at least part of the process of killing a god?
Yeah, but no one else except Fausti knows exactly what happened there. So, but they know that sword when they see it, which is why everyone is so wary of it. They don't know exactly that it was used to kill Chaos.
They just know it's bad news.
Yeah.
I just find it funny, given our build, that this is the only time it's ever really used.
Oh yeah, it's even worse when I'm using a sword, Weiss, because that is an awesome sword in-game, and we have a pathetic something at this point if I was using swords.
That's just cruel.
Yeah. Actually, if you get the bad ending for that game, you will never get that sword as a regular weapon.
Huh. Well, that's typical Idea Factory fare. They pulled the same kind of shit in Cross Edge too.
Told her to stand back and she's right there.
Well, I always have the opportunity of not using her, but I didn't. But yeah, Feline is introducing EX skills, which are extremely helpful, and to do any sort of good at this game on hard, you need to make pretty good use of them.
Yeah, when I was watching this before, check out how much damage he just did to Vice there, and now...
Yeah, that thing's nasty.
Yeah, it's about to get a lot less nasty.
Yeah. Actually, if you finish this fight without using any EX skills, Feline will make fun of you.
Finishing this fight without any EX skills, you kind of deserve it, because you will have spent a lot more resources than you really had any reason to.
Well, the only reason I know that is because my first time through the game I was using the clear bonus rewards from Augurist War 0, and with the 2 bits of equipment you get from that, this guy can't even scratch at least one female character. It is absurd how little damage he does using that armor.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing with the EX skills is that if they're used in a formation, that bonus applies to every character in the formation. Yeah, he's just missing constantly.
Mm-hmm. His damage was easily cut by 2/3 to 3/4, just by sheer virtue of never connecting.
Yeah. And part of it is because Weiss is the formation leader, well he was, and that gives an additional evasion bonus. But yeah, if you use EX skills in a formation, that bonus applies to everybody. But if the character uses it out of formation, it only applies to the person using it.
Huh.
Can you only have one EX skill active at a time?
No, you can have up to 4. I just don't have the opportunity to do that.
Well, it
yet.
might be strategically interesting to have one character that doesn't care about a specific bonus, or that only needs one and the rest of the party doesn't need it to do that on purpose. Only have an EX skill apply to them.
Well, there's no real point to not having a character with EX skills on him. I mean, a mage like Eva, she'll have sort of magic-oriented EX skills, but a Weiss will have more physical-oriented EX skills. The most valuable one is called, the most valuable in my opinion, is an EX skill called Ryle. And basically, if the character using it has to be below 20% HP, but if they use it, they do at least twice as much damage as they usually do. You can just tear bosses to shreds with it on.
Now, when they activate it and they're at less than 20%, that same damage boost is applied to everybody?
Yeah.
Damn.
Man.
And yeah, for some reason, Janus comes with accuracy, which is a EX skill you won't get for a while. And all it does is assure that all physical attacks will hit a target. But the enemies in the early in this game, they don't really have evasion skills high enough to justify that.
Yeah, I can see how it would be useful later on, though, especially given certain monster propensities that IF likes to use. They tend to have a metal slime type enemy with huge evasion that's worth a shitload if you can actually connect.
Yeah, later in the game, some enemies will have EX skills that'll basically always assure physical attacks miss, but accuracy overrides that. There is no circumstance that a character with accuracy on them will miss with physical strikes.
Nice.
Feline is not really that powerful, except her Radia Fist, which she's using now.
Yeah, I was noticing that. It's crazy. Look at that.
She's not that powerful, but Radia Fist does help, since a lot of enemies at this point in the game are weak to her.
Oh,
Her
is that it?
personality
It's
kind of
elemental?
seems like Eva Light.
Yeah, she's kind of mean, but not as psychotic as Eva's most of the time. And yeah, with this guy, all you really need to do is wail on him until you get an ultimate point. You hit him with one, then you back off. You never use 2 ultimate points in the same combo, since if you come up short, you'll be in a pretty bad spot. So it's very important to be judicious with ultimate points. And yeah, if an EX skill is still highlighted red when you select it, that means the effect is still going.
How long do they usually last?
They usually last like 2 or 3 turns or so.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Since it's kind of confusing, since when a character's turn comes up, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a new turn. It's just that character is getting one.
Right, I assume speedster characters like, presumably, the Cat Girl and Janus, get a lot of turns through their agility scores or whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. Janus isn't particularly fast, but Fiona is. And yeah, Flene's just talking about stuff I mentioned. Not great, but I sure got a lot of XP for the EXP.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now we're gonna jump to another boss battle. There's not much that happens between that last fight and this one. I assume there's actually a huge spoiler regarding Fosty's voice actor, but I don't think you'll be able to pick up on it if you don't speak Japanese and haven't played the previous 2 games.
I only played the first one. It was a long time ago, so no.
Yeah.
So he's more than just annoying?
Yeah, he's a lot more than that. But it's only when you get to the credits list you'll really figure out the connection there. Or I could just tell you, which I'm going to do at the appropriate time. And yeah, Drifting Cloud is the, it makes it so the enemy dodges a lot of attacks. I believe that's what that does. I don't have an SP, so I can't turn on Foresight.
So I take it they're pretty much always going to hammer Weiss the first turn?
The AI... See, every enemy in this game has a sort of specific AI pattern. Like, there were some enemies that'll exclusively target weaker characters, and ones that'll go after stronger ones. Everyone has a little hidden AI routine like that. But they usually, for some reason, they usually seem to default to going after Weiss at the start of the battle. I don't know why they're doing that.
I don't either, but it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get shit like this. Yeah, it just killed him from full in a single round of attacks.
Yeah, at this point in the game, my advice for normal fights is that if a character gets KO'd during the fight, just escape and reload your save, because Blessed Leaves are really expensive at this point in the game. You just do not have a lot of room for error. Unless you sure like grinding, which I don't.
Grinding solves every problem except having to grind.
But you don't really need to grind in this game if you know what you're doing.
That's refreshing for a JRPG.
Yeah. And yeah, as you can see, the total AP thing is glowing. That means I have an ultimate point ready. It's kind of a waste to keep attacking an enemy when you have an ultimate point charged up. I don't entirely know why I do that. Oh well. It works out eventually. And you can tell when a character is below 20% because they'll do something like Weiss is doing right now and sort of get into that weakened animation. And at this point in the game, Fiona is the only one who can activate Blessing, which if you defeat an enemy while it's still active, you get additional EXP and technical points. Always
nice.
Helpful to have. And yeah, I had mentioned it when I introduced Ultimate Strikes, but in boss battles especially, never use them unless you are absolutely certain you're going to kill the target. Because especially in the harder fights, using an ultimate strike at the wrong point, that can pretty much mean you're going to lose.
Mentioned something there about the sword of his sins.
Oh, you know what he was saying there?
I understand about a word in 5, and that increases in JRPGs because that's the sort of shit I usually watch subtitled.
Yeah, the game actually does translate in-game battle quotes at a very minor point, and I'll talk about that later. But yeah, he's talking about the sword of his sin or something. And an even bigger EXP.
Damn.
payout.
Yeah.
I even beat that guy faster at a harder fight than last time. And yeah,
Yay, Punch Mage.
the use points I'm using to level everyone up, those carry over if you don't use them all between level ups. They're not gone forever or anything.
That's good.
That's more of the standard IF mechanics at work.
Yeah. And to end this video, another ominous flashback thing.
Oh, goody.
It's always under trees.
Exactly. Alright, well, thanks for coming, you two.
Good being here.
You're welcome.